Proposition 47 was first passed by voters in 2014. It reclassified shoplifting of merchandise of less than $950 as a misdemeanor instead of a felony. Many say it fueled a crime wave that's caused hundreds of California retailers to close their doors. There's now an effort underway to gather signatures for a tough-on-crime ballot reform measure that's called the Homelessness, Drug Addiction, and Theft Reduction Act. A petition drive did collect more than 900,000 signatures to put this measure on the November ballot. Those signatures now being verified by the state. And we welcome in Elena with the Board of Directors of the New Car Dealers Association of the state of California. You'll also sit on the board of the Fresno City and County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Well, what do you see are the major flaws in Prop 47, and how would this new measure address some of those flaws?
So I think the big deal with Prop 47 is where we have seen these major retail thefts. But one of the issues that
the smash and grabs.
Correct, the smash and grab. And what the state and the research behind it shows is that's really more of organized crime. What Prop 47 was aimed to reduce in the beginning was taking a regular shoplifting, theft, anything above $950, and that's now going to become a felony. Anything under that makes it a misdemeanor. So with Prop 47 itself, the way it stands, it still makes sense. But now we have seen this increase in organized crime. Does this new ballot measure actually address the organized crime issue behind it, or is it still just addressing regular shoplifting? Because the organized crime is not considered shoplifting. That's considered a robbery. A robbery is a felony. So with the new measure, I think it may be a bit too broad to actually hone in on just organized crime. I know that the state of California has put together a political assembly committee specifically to focus on organized crime in the retail space for big retail and luxury brands.
So that could be legislation in the future.
Correct. So I don't know that this measure is the correct answer to that. Prop 47 has done exactly what it said it would do, of lessening the burden on our judicial system, as well as the amount of beds that are taken up in prisons and jail cells throughout the state, which we know costs an extreme amount of resources to us. So I don't know that this new measure is actually going to address that organized crime. Because again, like you mentioned, it's also talking about drug addiction and homelessness.
Yeah,
and those are more
broad.
of the homelessness and the drug addicts is more of the what they call transient, someone that would come in and just grab something off a shelf and leave. The smash and grab is something that's very different. This is an organized crime. It's a group of people. It's very targeted. They have. It also goes under the label of conspirator. So that's also considered a felony. So robbery, conspiracy, those are already considered felonies, and that's more of that organized crime, whereas Prop 47 is meant to talk specifically for shoplifting for under $950.
Yeah, that aren't considered violent felony
non-violent
situations.
Crimes, exactly.
But we ever since this 47 has passed, we've heard and covered on our news local law enforcement actually throughout the valley and elsewhere in the state connecting an increase in incidents with Prop 47. So there are many in law enforcement that have not been happy with this. Are they, from what you've been able to find out, and you serving on your boards, is law enforcement behind this new measure? Do they feel like this would make some type of significant impact on some of the people, the not so nice people that are out and about in our communities?
We have seen that there was a huge support from the law enforcement community. There's also been political support. There have been major mayors that have thrown their weight behind it. I believe the mayor of San Francisco and of Los Angeles both are behind it. And those are more of your liberal cities in the state of California. So for them to stand behind this, where Prop 47 was pretty much, heralded by the Democrats and the liberals of this is a great thing, for them to now roll back and say maybe we actually need to look at this under a closer microscope or a closer lens and see if there's a way that we can
fine-tune it.
Yeah.
Now, voters did have the opportunity to alter Prop 47 back in 2020. That failed. So what is different about this new measure? And will voters get on board this time around?
Well, I mean, with 900,000 signatures, it sounds like people are on board with it. What's different about this one, again, I think because they're going after that three-pronged approach of, targeting the homelessness, drug addicts, and then the shoplifting as well. That's something where I think in 2020, it was just a broad pen stroke of how we could change Prop 47, of we're just going to do one thing or two things. And this is really talking about a myriad of things that would come together to create a new and improved Prop 47.
Are these things all connected? Homelessness, drug activity, and theft, retail theft?
I mean, of course, you can draw a line between those things very easily. Does that mean every instance is all interconnected? Absolutely not. But there is a way where you could say just because someone is homeless that they probably might have an addiction as well, and then they're most likely to shoplift. So 1, 2, 3, those can all be connected pretty easily. But again, that doesn't mean that every instance falls into that same category. So yes, they are connected, but again, not everything can be at 100% all the time.
Why is this an important issue for the New Car Dealers Association locally in the state of California? Why are they interested in seeing this pass?
Sure. So research that we have done over the past few years, I believe we had the study that came out in 2022, and it actually showed since the inception of Prop 47 in 2014 that shoplifting and crime rates had essentially gone down, because now, whether that's because they were underreported, which a lot of people say, and research points to most shops or even big retail stores aren't reporting
we see the big flashy incidents,
right.
But maybe obviously it's still occurring.
And a lot of them have also adopted their own hands-off policy. There are instances where police have been thwarted by security guards within these big box stores saying, no, we don't want you to arrest them. Because there could be blowback. There's so many things that are filmed on camera now. Those retailers don't actually want to get sued for mishandling a situation. So there's a lot of factors at play there. But from the research that we also found, not only did the regular shoplifting go down since 2014, but the one thing that we did see rise was car theft. So whether that means stealing a car in its totality and stealing the whole car itself, or stealing parts of a car.
Which would be more than a misdemeanor, obviously.
100%. It would be a felony. But if they're just stealing parts of a vehicle, say they're stealing a catalytic converter.
Off a new car lot, that happens.
It can definitely happen. I have dealers that we represent up and down the state and here in Fresno County that have reported catalytic converter thefts, whether it be from a fleet sales dealership or a regular new or used car vehicle dealership. Catalytic converter theft is something that we're still dealing with today. There was a ballot passed last year on catalytic converters. Does that actually do anything to stop the theft? In my opinion, it does not. All it does is say that we have to put a identification number on the catalytic converter. So if it is stolen and the cops find it, they could trace it back. But it really doesn't do much to inhibit the theft in the first place. But something like that could fall under a Prop 47, or say they're stealing just small components off of it. They go into a vehicle and steal the stereo out of it. We see that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Those things could fall under a Prop 47 under that 900 or that 950 threshold.
Okay, so when will we find out if this measure makes it to the ballot?
So one of the things,
November ballot.
Right, the November ballot. So that's really a toss-up. There's a process that you have to go through in order to get a initiative remedied for the November ballot. And part of that is the signature process.
Yes.
Right now it's in the clarification process, so they're actually going through those 900,000 plus signatures and making sure that each of them are certified to an actual person. And it's not someone signing Scooby-Doo on the list, because we see that
it's time consuming.
It is quite time consuming.
So pretty soon we'll be seeing it.
Pretty soon we should be seeing it. My guess is we'll probably see something towards the end of June. That's when we know a lot of these initiatives are either going to cross Governor Newsom's desk and he will make them as an executive order, or they would pass through that certification process and then we'll start seeing them on the ballot. Once that happens, that's when the advertising and things you'll start seeing on TV talking about the ads. We're not going to see anything until it's actually qualified for the ballot.
All right. Elena Sweet she's on the board of directors of the New Car Dealers Association for the state of California. Thank you for being here and explaining the connection between who you represent and this potential new measure to thwart Prop 47.
Of course. Thanks for having me
here. We'll be right back.